Season 4 was a turning point for Star Trek, Voyager. There was a notable boost in ratings between Voyager Seasons 3 and 4, and the story generally reflects that. Season 4 brought the Borg to Voyager as major antagonists, and the reintroduction of one of Star Trek's most terrifying enemies immediately raised the stakes for the USS Voyager. But whereas the Borg on Star Trek, The Next Generation had been intermittent antagonists, appearing in only 6 episodes, Voyager turned a Borg drone into a member of the crew. Perhaps the single biggest change between Star Trek, Voyager Seasons 3 and 4 was swapping Jennifer Lyon's telepathic Ocampa, Kuz, for Jerry Ryan's iconic former drone, 7 of 9. 7 of 9 served as a foil for Captain Catherine Janeway, Kate Mulgrew, revealing more about the occasionally isolated captain's inner life than almost any other character on Star Trek, Voyager. On the whole, Voyager broadened the scope of both its character choices and external conflicts in Season 4, adding a whole new dimension to the growing show. 10. Omega Directive. Star Trek, Voyager Season 4, Episode 21. In Omega Directive, Star Trek, Voyager introduced one of the most interesting pieces of lore to Star Trek's canon, the mysterious and highly charged Omega particles that are so deadly that Starfleet trains all captains to destroy them immediately. The simple fact that every single Starfleet captain has had knowledge of Omega since the 23rd century and has had to keep it secret from their senior officers immediately adds nuance and complexity to every Star Trek captain's relationship with their first officers. Beyond adding some very cool lore, Omega Directive also offered insights into both Captain Janeway and 7 of 9's characters. For Captain Janeway, the Omega Directive first required her to keep secrets from her crew, straining her friendship with Commander Chakotay, Robert Beltran, in particular. When Captain Janeway eventually chooses to bend Starfleet protocol, it affirms the fact that the bond between Voyager's characters is unmatched. For 7 of 9, Omega is a divine symbol of perfection for the Borg. Her reaction reveals a religious side of Star Trek that isn't often explicitly explored. 9. Scorpion Part 2. Star Trek, Voyager Season 2, Episode 1. Scorpion Part 2 is Star Trek, Voyager Season 4's premiere, concluding Season 3's cliffhanger. Scorpion Part 2 made it immediately clear that the stakes would be higher than ever in Season 4 and that Voyager's characters would rise to the occasion. The episode serves as a great introduction to 7 of 9, framing her firmly as a member of the Borg collective with no desire for individuality. Unlike Jonathan Del Arco's Hugh in Star Trek, The Next Generation, 7 of 9 had no desire to be known as an individual. Star Trek, Voyager's Season 4 premiere also created a great conflict between Captain Janeway and Commander Chakotay. As the episode's title suggests, Commander Chakotay thought the Borg collective was fundamentally untrustworthy whereas Captain Janeway thought a temporary alliance was possible. As a result of Captain Janeway's truism, Voyager fired shots in the collective's war with Species 8472, an act that would be unthinkable under Starfleet protocol in the Alpha Quadrant. The only reason this episode doesn't rank higher is that it was more of a setup for later Voyager episodes than a narrative in and of its own right. 8. Revulsion. Star Trek, Voyager Season 4, Episode 5. In many ways, Star Trek, Voyager's holographic Doctor, Robert Picardo, is a perfect inverse of TNG's Lieutenant Commander Data, Brent Spiner. Both are artificial lifeforms searching to grow beyond their programming and become more human, but Data's journey is centered on emotions, a quality that the Doctor has in spades. Revulsion offers a different foil for the Doctor's personal journey, in the form of the holographic maintenance unit, Desjaren, Leland Orser. As a result, Revulsion gives a great view into the Doctor's psyche, and what the difference between biological and holographic life in the Delta Quadrant is like. On top of these character insights, Revulsion is also an extremely well-written episode of Star Trek, Voyager. Desjaren is a genuinely scary villain, building tension in nearly every scene, and nearly killing Lieutenant B'Elanna Torres, Roxanne Dawson, in the episode's climax. The only drawback to an otherwise nearly perfect episode is the episode's B-plot of Ensign Harry Kim, Garrett Wang, attempting to seduce 7 of 9. These moments of comic relief ultimately clash with the horror movie tone of the rest of the episode. 7. The Killing Game. Star Trek, Voyager Season 4, Episodes 18 and 19. Star Trek has a lot of excellent holodeck episodes, and Star Trek, Voyager's The Killing Game is one of the franchise's best. The two-part episode pits Voyager's crew against the Delta Quadrant's fearsome species of migratory hunters, the Hirogen. The Killing Game starts with the Hirogen having already taken over the USS Voyager, brainwashed the crew, and put them in various holographic environments to slake their bloodlust. As a result, most of The Killing Game takes place in a holographic version of Nazi-occupied France, with Captain Janeway leading a local resistance cell. It's fun and tense to see the USS Voyager's tactical officer, Lieutenant Tuvok, Tim Russ, fighting with a revolver, while Captain Janeway receives hidden messages on wine bottles. Outside the holodecks, the Doctor has some genuinely heroic moments that would be impossible in most other episodes of Star Trek, Voyager. And, as a cherry on top of an excellent episode, seeing Neelix, Ethan Phillips, as a drunken Klingon warrior swapping battle stories is genuinely hilarious. While The Killing Game may not be the single most substantive episode of Star Trek, Voyager, it is one of those episodes that is a joy to watch from beginning to end. 6. 1. Star Trek, Voyager Season 4, Episode 25. 7 of 9 is one of the most interesting characters in Star Trek, and her arc throughout her first season of Voyager is centered on growing into her individuality. Her name, 7 of 9, reflects the fact that she is not willing to embrace her original human identity as Annika Hansen. So, after a whole season of watching 7 of 9 struggle between her human and Borg natures, 1 serves as a great culmination of her arc. As the penultimate episode of Star Trek, Voyager Season 4, 1, proves that 7 of 9 has grown into a full member of the Voyager family.